There are a number of ways in which this story could have been, shall we say, managed to stop it getting out, which was our intention.
They were bracing for impact.
Yeah, they were.
Of this story coming out.
Yep.
Dr. David Clark uncovered what many say is the UFO case of the century. August 1990. Scotland's Daily Record was on the eve of publishing a story involving 2 witnesses and 6 35mm photographs. Then the Ministry of Defense stepped in, and the witnesses and prints vanished for over 30 years.
And he was worried about whether he would get into trouble with the Official Secrets Act. He said,
After over a decade of research, Dr. Clark discovered one of the early investigators of the case, Royal Air Force Press Officer Craig Lindsay, one of the officials known to have interviewed the witnesses.
Something that could hover without making any noise and travel at the speed that this guy said it went vertically upwards is utterly beyond my knowledge. How they keep it quiet for 30-odd years, again, beyond me.
In August of 1990, 2 hotel employees left after their shift for a late afternoon hike in the town of Calvine, just a few miles away.
It was the Athol Palace Hotel, because when they mentioned the name, that hotel's got lots of, pinnacles and things. It's a very Disney type of place.
2 witnesses were out hiking. They then saw a large diamond-shaped craft hovering.
It didn't move, it just hovered in the air without making any noise.
With the help of Calvine resident Giles Stevens, we were able to find the probable location of the encounter. The 2 witnesses most likely hid under this tree.
The witnesses looked at this for a while, and one of them had a camera.
The craft was hovering silently, and they were terrified.
That's what they said to me, that all they wanted to do is to hide. But when the jet came along, they sort of stuck the camera out from behind the bush and snapped 6 frames. They got a picture of the likes of which I don't think anybody has seen before. The bit that then stands out is that I asked him what happened next, and he said, we watched it for another minute or 2, and then it started to move. And how did it move? Oh, it started to go up, and then it got faster and faster and faster and disappeared straight up. And I said, what sort of noise did it make? And I got the instant answer, it didn't make any noise. And that was the bit where suddenly everything in my head went, wait a minute, I don't know of any aircraft that can hover and can maneuver at that kind of speed and doesn't make a noise. That's when I kind of woke up to the whole thing.
It would have blown our standard line out of the water. Therefore, we wanted to bury this, and we did. All the photographs and all the negatives were acquired by the Ministry of Defense, and they were never seen again.
Despite efforts of the Ministry of Defense to keep this evidence from the public, Royal Air Force Press Officer Craig Lindsay kept one print, which he has now donated to the Center for Contemporary Legend, where it was analyzed by photo specialist Andrew Robinson.
First time he mentioned it to me, he said, I've got this photograph. I wonder if you could copy it for me. I'm going up to Scotland to get it. Everything fitted with the story. It substantiates the narrative that's been told about it. The grain seems very smooth over the edges of the object. There's no sign that anything was done to this after the image was taken.
So Craig Lindsay at the RVF saved this for 30+ years.
Yes. Even after retirement, he took it with him when he left the office in 2000.
He's kind of a hero.
He is a real hero. We would know so less about this story now if it wasn't for Craig doing what he did.
The reason that this was a good photo was twofold, really. Firstly, it was daylight. But secondly, far more importantly, there were features of the ground. And what that meant, of course, is that one can triangulate, one can start to make detailed calculations about the distance of the object from the camera, the height above the ground, etc. The bottom line was, everyone was very impressed with this and said, no, it's a solid, structured, real craft. Where are the wings? Where's the fuselage? Where are the engines? How does this thing fly? And what we were interested in trying to do from the images is to try and almost reverse engineer an idea about what kind of propulsion system was involved here, and that, we hoped, would give us a clue as to who was operating this. The last thing we wanted was an open discussion about these up-close and personal daylight images of a huge unknown craft of some type with military aircraft in the background. If you have a date and a location and a time when a military aircraft was seen, you would find out in an instant what aircraft it was, what squadron it came from, who the aircrew were, and you would instantly be able to debrief them. For whatever reason, the Ministry of Defense line on this is that the aircraft was not traced and the pilots were not interviewed.
The overwhelming consensus is that the military plane seen in the photo is a Harrier jump jet, but neither records nor a pilot's name has been found.
So we've got 3 possible scenarios. 1, hoax. 2, secret stealth military aircraft belonging to the United States or some other foreign power. Or 3, which would fall into the category of other, which would imply originating from a non-human intelligence.
At one point during my posting on the UFO desk, I went to a briefing, a more general briefing about UAP, and this photo was brought out, and the briefer, who was in the intelligence community, said, you know, this photo here, he said, and he started gesticulating, and he said, you know, it's not the United States. And he said, it's not Russia, and that only leaves, and he pointed straight up, and we looked at his finger and we looked at the ceiling, and nothing further was said.
Now, 34 years after their disappearance, a co-worker at the hotel, Richard Grieve, has broken his silence.
I know the people that took the photograph. I'd go to my grave swearing on my great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren's lives on that, yes. I worked with them in the kitchen. I served fried eggs with them. I make poached eggs, they make toast. You know, we was 5 of us in the kitchen. Ewan was a good breakfast chef. I've just named one of them.
A few days after taking the photos, the witnesses and their co-workers were on a 5-minute cigarette break when they had an unexpected visit.
Pissing wet with rain, thundery weather, big black car appeared. The car came in, the lights stayed on, the window wipers stayed on, private glass in the back, driver in the front. He never got out of his car once. But the two people in the back did. They stepped out the back, and that was it. Cigarette break. So we'll go back inside. We need to speak to your friends.
Richard and the other chefs watched through a nearby hotel window as the two strangers confronted their co-workers in the parking lot.
They were fucking spooks. They were men in black. And they stood outside in the pissing rain speaking to them.
After roughly 10 minutes, the men drove off and the two witnesses came back inside.
They came in the back door. They looked white as a fucking ghost. Something happened to them. They seen something. Whoever came out the car scared the absolute crap out of them. Guess what? We've taken a picture of a U.F.O. and the Americans are after us. Whatever got sent to them outside, they were not the same chefs that left the same kitchen I was working in with them.
According to their co-worker, Richard, the two witnesses started to drink heavily, missed shifts, slept in their cars at work, and after 4 weeks, they vanished, without a trace.
Chefs don't just disappear out of the kitchen for 34 years and not have no other job. Do you hear what I'm saying? You just don't fuck off and not work ever again. Where are they? Even if they do tip up to be dead, I'd still like to know where they went to.